Hello everyone. In today's video, the topic is live without expectations. Live without any expectations sounds simple, almost too simple, like one of those phrases people print on mugs or hang on the wall and forget about it. But if you sit with it for a while, really sit with it, you begin to realize how radical it is. Expectations quietly run almost every emotional reaction we have. They shape our disappointments, our resentments, our joys, and even our sense of self-worth. To live without expectation is not to live without hope, desire, or direction. It is to live without the invisible contract we keep writing in our head and then feeling betrayed when the world doesn't sign them. From the moment we wake up, expectations are already at work. We expect traffic to move. We expect people to understand us. We expect our effort to be rewarded, our kindness to be returned, our plans to go as imagined. None of these expectations is wrong in itself. They are human, but the problem begins when our peace depends on them, when our inner state is held hostage by how closely reality matches the script we wrote for it. Think about how often disappointment is not caused by what happened, but by what we thought should have happened. A friend doesn't come back, a project doesn't get recognized, a family member doesn't respond the way we hope. The pain is real, but beneath it is usually a quieter thought. This was supposed to be different. That sentence, often unspoken, is the voice of expectation. Living without expectation does not mean becoming indifferent or careless. It means releasing the demand that life, people, and circumstances must behave in a specific way for you to be okay. It is a shift from I will be at peace if ... to I choose to be at peace regardless. There is a strange freedom in that. When you expect nothing, you begin to see everything as a gift instead of a guarantee. A kind word becomes a surprise instead of a requirement. A smooth day becomes a blessing instead of a baseline. Even difficulties, while still difficult, lose some of their power to feel like personal insults from the universe. They become part of the landscape of being alive, not evidence that something has gone wrong. Expectation is often disguised as control. We plan, we anticipate, we prepare, and all of that is healthy. But somewhere along the way, planning turns into attachment. Preparation turns into rigidity. We don't just hope things will go a certain way. We start to need them to go that way in order to feel safe, valued, or successful. When they don't, we don't adjust. We suffer. The power of no expectation is the power of flexibility. It is the ability to bend without breaking, to adapt without losing yourself. When you are not emotionally invested in a single outcome, you can respond to what is instead of fighting what isn't. Your energy goes into living, not into arguing with reality. This doesn't mean you stop setting goals. It means you stop confusing goals with guarantees. You can work hard, care deeply, and still hold the results lightly. You can say, I will do my best, without adding, and therefore it must turn out exactly as I imagine. That small inner shift changes everything. One of the most powerful places to practice living without expectation is in relationships. So much quiet suffering comes from unspoken expectations we place on others. They should understand me. They should appreciate me. They should change. They should show up in this particular way. Sometimes they do, often they don't. And when they don't, we feel hurt, unseen, or even betrayed, despite the fact that the contract existed only in your own minds. When you release expectation, you start to see people more clearly. You see who they are, not who you hoped they would be. This doesn't mean you tolerate harm or stay in unhealthy situations. Boundaries still matter. Discernment still matters. But your emotional peace no longer depends on someone else meeting your internal checklist. Instead of thinking they should treat me this way, you begin to think this is how they are. Now, what is my wisest response? That question puts your power back into your own hands. Living without expectation also changes how to relate to yourself. Many of us carry heavy expectations about who we should be by a certain age, how successful we should be, how healed we should feel, how confident we should look. When we don't meet those expectations, we turn our disappointment inward. We become harsh, impatient, or ashamed. The power of no expectation softens that inner voice. It allows you to meet yourself where you are, not where you think you should be. Growth becomes a journey instead of a judgment. You still move forward, but you stop using comparison or deadlines as whips. There is also a quiet spiritual dimension to living without expectation. When you stop demanding specific outcomes, you become more present. You listen more, you notice more, you are less busy negotiating with the future and more available to the moment in front of you. Life feels less like a test you are trying to pass and more like a conversation you are learning to participate in. Paradoxically, when you expect less, you often experience more joy. Joy becomes lighter, more frequent, and less dependent on perfect conditions. You laugh more easily, you appreciate small things, you recover faster from setbacks, not because life suddenly becomes easier, but because you are no longer arguing with it at every turn. Of course, this way of living is not something you achieve once and then keep forever. Expectations creep back in. They sneak into your plans, your hopes, your fears. The practice is not to eliminate them completely, but to notice them gently, to catch yourself when you are thinking, this has to happen, and quietly replace it with, I will do my part and I will handle whatever happens. That sentence is full of inner strength. How do you live with this power, you might ask? You live it in a small, ordinary moments. When plans change, you breathe instead of panic. When someone disappoints you, you pause before you react. When success arrives, you receive it with gratitude instead of entitlement. When failure shows up, you meet it with curiosity instead of shame. You also learn to separate efforts from attachment. You give your best, but you don't tie your worth to the result. You care, but you don't cling. You hope, but you don't demand. Over time, something subtle but profound happens. Your emotional life becomes steadier. You are less easily shaken, not because you are numb, but because you are no longer building your inner world on conditions that you cannot control. You begin to trust yourself more than circumstances. Living without expectation doesn't make you passive, it makes you resilient. It doesn't shrink your dreams, it frees them from fear. It doesn't take meaning out of life, it takes the pressure of life to perform for you in the specific way. And in that space where you are open, present, and unattached, you often discover something surprising. Life, when not forced, has its own quiet generosity. Opportunities appear you couldn't have planned. Lessons arrive you didn't know you needed. Peace shows up not because everything is perfect, but because you are no longer waiting for perfection to allow yourself to be okay. That is the real power of no expectation. It is not the absence of desire, it is the presence of freedom. Thank you so much, and I hope you click like and subscribe to my channel for more videos coming up.